The truth behind narcissists' twisted eating habits. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're tackling a topic that might hit home for some of you: the strange eating habits of narcissists. I've got to say, family dinners in my house were more like a battlefield, especially when Dad was at the table. His bizarre eating habits turned what should have been bonding time into stressful, uncomfortable situations. I'd walk away from those meals feeling drained and totally puzzled, wondering why things had to be so tense. Looking back now, I realize just how toxic those habits were, and that's why I'm here today, sharing my thoughts with all of you. In this video, we're going to break down 5 weird eating habits that narcissists often have. But before we jump in, let's remember, just because someone has these habits doesn't automatically mean they're a narcissist. People are complicated and behaviors can vary a lot, so let's keep an open mind and look at the bigger picture. All right, let's dig into these eating quirks and see how they fit into the narcissistic mindset. Trust me, you're in for an eye-opener. Number 1, the boasting narcissist. Picture this: family dinner time, and my dad's got an audience. He'd wait for us all to sit down, then launch into these epic tales about his day. He'd brag about putting someone in their place at work or outsmarting his colleagues. And let me tell you, he'd lap up every moment of it, soaking in his own glory like he was the star of the show. As he spun these stories, you could practically see the pride and arrogance oozing from him. We never knew if he was telling the truth or just spinning a yarn, but one thing was clear: he always painted himself as the hero. I call it a delergasm because it's like they're getting high on their own delusions. They're living in this fantasy world, and sharing these stories gives them a serious thrill. As kids, we were totally sucked in. His fantasy became our reality, and we'd hang on to every word, nodding along like it was gospel truth. Even my mom got in on the act, stroking his ego and playing the role of adoring fan. It was like he had us all under his spell, and he loved every minute of it. Number 2, the perfectionist narcissist. These folks take control to a whole new level, especially when it comes to chowing down. It's not just about how they eat, it's about how everyone around them eats too. They'll micromanage everything from your posture to your chewing technique, and don't even get me started on utensil etiquette. For them, mealtime isn't just about filling your belly, it's a full-blown performance. They're like stage directors, and you're their unwitting cast. Any slip-up becomes a reason for them to unleash their psychological torture, like you've ruined their big show. They see you as a prop in their grand production, and there's no room for authenticity. It's all about maintaining their illusion of perfection. You can't be yourself around these folks. Every move you make is scrutinized. Every bite you take is judged. God forbid you glance at your sibling while chewing. You'll never hear the end of it. It's cruel, it's robotic, and it's completely insane. But that's narcissists for you, especially the ones obsessed with appearances. They might crave elegance and perfection, but at the end of the day, it's all about control, controlling every aspect of your life, right down to your dinner table manners. Number 3, the group eating dynamic straight out of a cult playbook. Picture this: you're sitting around the dinner table with your family, but it feels less like a cozy gathering and more like a scene from a horror movie. That's what it was like in my house, thanks to my dear old dad. He was obsessed with the idea of family meals, preaching about how it builds bonds and creates a sense of belonging. But in reality, it was just another opportunity for him to flex his control muscles. If we didn't all sit down together, it was like we were breaking some sacred rule. Who would he pick on if we weren't all there to witness it? Who would he shame or manipulate for attention? It was suffocating, like we were trapped in this twisted pact. No matter how late he was, how disinterested we were, or how hungry we weren't, we had to sit at that table and endure it. And forget about enjoying your meal, that was out of the question. It's no wonder so many survivors of narcissistic abuse have a complicated relationship with food. For some, it's a source of comfort. For others, it's a reminder of the trauma they endured. Can you blame them? Number 4, the animalistic eating habits that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about table manners. Picture this: you're sitting down for a meal with your family, but instead of a civilized gathering, it feels more like you're at a zoo. These narcissists have no concept of proper dining etiquette. They chew loudly, talk with their mouths full, and couldn't care less about how their behavior affects those around them. It's like they're in a feeding frenzy, devouring their food as if it's their last meal on Earth. And forget about asking them to chew with their mouths closed. That's just an invitation for a full-blown argument. I remember once asking my dad how the food tasted, and his response left me speechless. He said, "What is taste?" Can you believe it? To him, food was just fuel, regardless of how it looked, smelled, or tasted. He'd eat anything you put in front of him without a second thought. But here's the kicker. If you dare to criticize their behavior, they'll turn it around on you faster than you can say dinner time. Instead of acknowledging their lack of manners, they'll accuse you of being too sensitive or having a problem with your hearing. It's maddening, but that's how it is with these narcissists. They'll do whatever it takes to avoid taking responsibility for their actions. Number 5, and fair warning, it's a tough one. We're diving into the twisted world of food control, where narcissists use what you eat as a way to manipulate and belittle you. Imagine this. You sit down for a meal, but instead of enjoying your food, you feel like you're walking on eggshells. The narcissist across the table is watching your every bite, ready to pounce with comments that make you question everything. They'll limit how much you eat, making you feel guilty for indulging in even the smallest portion. It's like they're policing your plate, dictating what's acceptable and what's not. And if you dare to defy their rules, they'll swoop in, taking food from your plate as if they have some divine authority. I've seen it firsthand. My dad used to do it all the time, making my mom and sister feel like they weren't even allowed to enjoy a meal. He'd say he was doing it for their own good, but it was really just a way to exert control over them. And if you try to stand up for yourself, forget about it. I remember once I wasn't feeling hungry and didn't want to eat, but instead of respecting my choice, he flew into a rage, forcing food down my throat until I couldn't take it anymore. But here's the kicker. They'll turn it around on you, playing the victim and making you feel like you're the one in the wrong. They'll guilt trip you, saying things like, "Think of all the starving children in the world," as if that justifies their abusive behavior. It's not just about food, it's about power and control. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with a narcissist like this, there's no room for autonomy or self-respect. It's their way or the highway, and if you dare to challenge them, you'll pay the price. Which food habits of the narcissist hit close to home for you? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might provide comfort to others going through similar situations. As we bring this episode to a close, I want to express my gratitude for your presence here. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to spread awareness and help others on their healing journey. Also, make sure to check out the free book and consider scheduling a one-on-one consultation linked in the description below. Until next time, let's continue this healing journey together. Take care and see you soon.